Epic Games and Fortnite have made some changes to the way that crossplay works in their game. Now, this has caused a lot of misinformation and a lot of people to freak out and think the worst, when in reality, honestly, what happened is not that big of a deal. So let's kind of go over this, let's squash some of the misinformation going around, and let's actually talk about what's really happening here. So the big change that they made is that crossplay is now on by default for Xbox One and PS4 users. They completely combined the player base by default. Anyways, you can turn it off like before, but in solo matches you'll be matched with PS4, Xbox users all together. Now they did take Switch out of that rotation and grouped the Switch player base with the mobile users as well. So instead of you solo queuing and getting matches with a bunch of PS4 and Xbox One users on Switch, you're going to be matched up with Switch and mobile players only. Same goes for, of course, mobile, and then PC players will only get matched with people using keyboard and mouse. Now this is all just the default solo matchmaking experience. So there's 3 different queues essentially for Switch and mobile is one queue, Xbox and PS4 as another queue, and then mouse and keyboard users as the 3rd queue. So a lot of people are thinking, oh, they removed crossplay from the Switch version, oh, they're taking away that crossplay option. That is not the case. Anybody can still match with anybody across any platform. The difference here is what matchmaking queue you're going into. So if you're playing on Switch and your friend has an Xbox, you guys can still play together. You just invite each other to a game, and then you'll be matched up with people in the Xbox and PS4 queue. Whereas if you're playing on PS4 with a controller and your friend is on PC, you can still play with that person as well. You're just going to be matched up with people using the mouse and keyboard queue. So that's where the misinformation is coming from. They're just changing, all that they're actually changing is the matchmaking groups that you're being put into depending on what you're playing with. So now the Switch just isn't considered part of that same matchmaking queue as the PS4 and Xbox One. So when you're playing solo or with just, you and your friend that are both playing on Switch, you're not going to be randomly pit up against PS4 and Xbox One users. You'll only be playing with Switch and mobile players. Whereas on Xbox or PS4, if you're playing with your buddy, one buddy's on PS4, the other buddy's on Xbox, that still works. And then you have, 2 other friends that are playing on Switch that you can all still play together. Crossplay is still functional completely across the board. They're just changing some of the matchmaking rules. So that's really all that it is. I saw a lot of misinformation about this. People were confused, and I do think that it's probably for the best. I mean, the Switch plays this game at 30 FPS, so it is a bit of a disadvantage when you're being put into matchmaking queues with people playing at 60 or, things like that. So, especially considering a lot of people play Fortnite in the handheld mode of the Switch, which just leads to some Johnny No-Thumb situations where you really don't stand a chance against people that are actually using pro controllers or real controllers. I mean, that itself is already a big disadvantage. If you're playing Fortnite on the Switch and you're not using a pro controller, you're already putting yourself at a huge disadvantage. So, but that's all that there was. I know a lot of people were worried about this, but there's nothing to be worried about. The game still has full functioning crossplay. You can still, for those of you who are still playing Fortnite, you can still play with your friends regardless of what platform they play on. Even if they're mobile users, you can still get a group. You can get a group together of a PC player, an Xbox player, a Switch player, and a mobile player. They'll all be able to play together in the same group. It's just depending on who you have and what console or platform they're playing on, just depends on what group of people you're playing against. So that's all that changed. No need to freak out. What do you guys think about this change? I do think it's the smarter move. Even with the miscommunication, I think that ultimately this was the right thing to do. But you guys let me know what you guys think down below if you do still play this game. I don't, but some people do. So you let me know what you think down below, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Stay classy.